social services, welfare for the elderly people, and we call this Great Britain, not in my mind. But so I think that this will all be diluted and it's going to go out the window. I just don't believe we're going to pull out of the European Union.
Really?
Yep.
Really? So do you think, though, with Theresa May gone and maybe a different government, that they then reverse it?
Yeah, I think it's going to take years, 10, 15 years, and it's going to be negative. I mean, when was it Nigel Farage, the world's our oyster, really. You know, the largest trading bloc in the world was Europe, 500 million people. We're talking about doing more trade with America. I mean, America, they dictate to us and tell us how far we have to jump. So I don't think there's any advantage.
Well, there are other countries that we can trade with, of course. I mean, there's the BRIC countries, there's every other country, in fact, we can trade with now, as opposed to just the EU.
But why would you do that when you've got it on your doorstep?
Well, I mean, yeah, the thing is, though, we are where we are, aren't we, Tony? And so if we can't trade with one bloc, we have to have a look at it and see if we can with another. Good to talk to you, Tony. Tony's a Remainer who hopes it's all done properly, but actually with these, it's going to stay pretty much as it is. Let's talk now to Gavin Lee, who's our Europe correspondent. Good morning, Gavin. Now, are you there? No, we don't. We've got a problem with our lines. So I'm going to talk to Elizabeth Ritzy.
No, I'll be Gavin.
Yeah, the other Gavin. Looking very pretty today. What a dress.
Thank you very much.
That's very girly.
It comes out in the summer when it's not too hot, because when one sweats and it's not great. But that's kind of the story of today. It's much fresher, isn't it? Did you get a good night's sleep last night?
I would have done if it had not been for three boys playing Xbox above my head.
Oh, how annoying!
Oh, I just wanted
selfish.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
There will be worse.
Confusing.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Where are the parents?
blame the parents.
I used my day nice and balancing.
Good. We all had a bit of sleep. So the weather's going to continue up.
Yes, it is. No sign of that really intense heat returning, actually. So yeah, staying quite fresh, not just for today, but over the weekend. Today it should stay dry. Lots of sunshine through the morning, but thickening cloud at times. Should stay dry. A little bit of a breeze going on. Top temperatures 23 degrees. Tomorrow might just get a bit of patchy rain and drizzle, but generally dry. There'll be more sunshine on Sunday.
Brilliant. Sounds like the perfect weather for me. Elizabeth Ritzy, thank you very much indeed. Have a great weekend. Gavin Lee's here now, our Europe correspondent. Good morning, Gavin. Hello, good morning. Now, tell us about this offer. And it's a generous offer, she's saying.
Well, she said generous, now she's saying, I think we'll hear this a few times, it's a fair and serious offer. She said it 3 times apparently yesterday to the leaders, and she's going to give the full details of the speech on Monday. Now, she was given 20 minutes between the monkfish main course and the coffee in the afternoon events. The idea was that she would tell this new plan and the others would react. Now, it sounds like some weird game. The idea is the hosts here, the European Council and Commission, don't want disunity in the ranks of the others to offering their different thoughts. So everything goes through Monsieur Brexit, Mr Barnier, for those talks with David Davis. But this is a chance for her to talk. So apparently what we're told, she said, was, and she confirmed this happens, anybody who's here for 5 years gets full rights in the UK. And that means all 3.2 million citizens. If people haven't been there for 5 years, they can accrue that, and they'll be given a grace period of 2 years after the point of terminus is with the agreed date that people can come. Now, that's not certain yet, so we don't know, for example, if somebody arrives from Spain or wherever tomorrow, will they be part of that? We're told it's to be negotiated from the end point being 3 months ago, the start of Article 50 being triggered, and March 2019, which is when Britain will leave the
I'm already
EU.
confused.
Well, basically, it's to be negotiated. And just stick with me here for a point. So that's what we know. We know that she's offering these rights. This is where it's going to get more confusing. What if, for example, spouses, family members, do they have rights? At the moment they do in the UK, but Theresa May has not given clarity on that. And even more so, if an EU citizen comes to the UK with a non-EU citizen, let's say a Spanish man with a Brazilian wife, everybody has rights. It's not clear whether that will be made the case in the future. One other point, the European Court of Justice, the EU says they are the highest court in the land in Europe. Anyone who has any problems, their case can go to the European Court of Justice. The UK and Theresa May are saying no,
station in the one-way system. A lane is closed after a water main burst. The A2 has the usual queues into town from the South Circular to the Kidbrooke interchange, and in Chislehurst, Summerhill's closed between Chislehurst Station and Old Hill for repairs. Just one ferry running on Woolwich Ferry, that's due to mechanical problems. And on Great Western Railway, service is currently suspended between West Ealing and Greenford because of a broken down train. That is expected to remain suspended until just before 7 o'clock this morning. The Circle and Hammersmith and City lines continue to have no service between Wood Lane and Edgware Road. And following a signal failure, severe delays on the Piccadilly line from Acton Town to Heathrow and Uxbridge, and is also causing minor delays on the District line from Earls Court through to Richmond and Ealing Broadway. Emma Jones, BBC Radio London. There's more travel at 6:45.
BBC Radio London. BBC Radio London.
First for London sport.
Francesco Bocchetti's controversial reign at Leyton Orient is over after a consortium led by